Can you bring us up to date with any maybe outs or ins with the clock ticking?
Yeah, I think we're still working hard, a little bit slower than probably what we'd hoped for, but obviously we've got another full day today and then tomorrow, so we'll continue to work away to see if there's anything we can do to try and help us bring a different profile to our group. Whether we can do that or not is sometimes subject to things happening elsewhere. That's essentially where we are. It's sometimes we need pieces to move at other football clubs for things to change for us, and at this time there's a little bit of a stalemate, but again, I always stay positive in these situations. If we don't get another player in, I think you'll see at the weekend there and the week before that I'm happy with my group, but what we're always trying to do is ward against this period between sort of now and January where you feel as if you come up short with options, and that's basically what we've been trying to do.
Do you envisage anyone going out?
We don't need to move anybody out, in answer to that, and I think again when you look at my squad, I'm not really in a position to send anybody out at this minute in time. What we might see is one or two of the younger players, what I call our development group, heading out. There's one or two bits of positivity in that sense, and I do see it as a positive. It's certainly not a punishment. On day one I spoke to every one of that group and made my intention clear of the game time that's required for them to make the next stages in their career. So again, yesterday there's been a couple of bits of positivity, some good conversations, and obviously we have a little bit more time when the window closes for that type of thing to transpire, but I'm hoping to try and secure a couple of good loan moves for a couple of younger players.
You're not kind of bracing yourselves for any cheeky bids for the likes of Lennon Miller, for example?
No, genuinely not, Jane. No, it's not been a topic of conversation. We're all really comfortable where we are with Lennon at the football club, and for everyone else that's performing well to that matter. So no, definitely not. There's not been a conversation broached, and we still work towards what we've always intended with players like Lennon and everybody else, which is keep playing, keep putting yourself out there for 90 minutes every week, and keep developing as a pro, keep improving as a pro. And I think obviously a number of our players caught the headlines at the weekend for their performances, and that's what we look to continue. So I don't see any last minute bids.
Just in terms of that weekend performance, not just the result but the actual performance itself and the manner of the win, how do you ensure that kind of becomes the norm, the kind of consistency aspect of things?
It's always what we're striving for. We've had a conversation here with some of our academy groups, and we go from that real high of a good result and a good performance. And I think when you look within the academy, it's always difficult, and the key to that is always trying to find the level of consistency. How do players keep reeling out good performances? How do they continue to impress and improve? And it's no different for the first team. That's something we spoke about. As I say, we're academy guys and what we're striving for, but it's always what we're striving for with our first team as well. Now, by and large, I think that we hit decent heights, but I think the last couple of games you can see incrementally that we've been getting better, and it's on us to ensure that comes again this weekend. I think going away from home, playing against St Johnstone, it's a different test, different challenge, different mindset, different type of game, and we have to make sure that we are that our levels are still going up, because I stressed that after the Hearts game. I certainly not getting carried away with one good result, one good performance. It built on the week before to get into the last 8 of the Cup. But again, I think we're going to have to go and put another few percent onto that performance to go and try and gain another 3 points. As difficult a task as that's going to be, but I'm seeing really positive signs from within our group. I'm seeing players getting fitter, sharper. Some of the new players are starting to understand what we want to do and how we want to play, and I think as always, if you get that buy-in from players, you'll start to see a better product.
Just a final one from me, just in terms of your injury situation, is it getting better? Anyone coming back? No more?
No, there's no additional injuries. Andy Halliday was obviously the one that came off the pitch on Sunday. Nothing too serious, I'm pleased to report. And hopefully we get him back training the next couple of days, today certainly, and tomorrow before Saturday. But we don't have any signs of anyone else coming back at this stage. It was quite nice. We actually seen Johnny Katrumbis was back on the pitch, doing a bit of light jogging, but he's still a long way away from getting back into group. He's been out now for, I think it's around 10-12 weeks, something around that number. So yes, it's still the same timescales for all the players that were out. They'll still be out well beyond, I would imagine, the international break. But as I say, the group that we had on Sunday is the group that we'll go again with this Saturday.
As a manager, how do you go about trying to build on the wins you've had? Do you add any kind of extra layers, or you just try to reinforce the good things that you've been doing?
Yeah, I'm always trying to add on extra layers because I think probably where we always have to be in kind of my methodology, if you like, has always been to try and get the absolute basics and the essentials right, and I think that we've started to really show that. That always starts from what you do when you don't have the ball. I think when you look at some of your best performances over my time, some of your goals scored, some of our chances created, a lot of that does come off of a plan, a lot of that does come off of a lot of hard work that we do during the week, and sometimes you need to try and raise the complexity of that to keep the opposition guessing. Sometimes you need to rely on greater quality at times, and sometimes better invention. So yeah, I would that's absolutely what I'm looking for. I'm continuously looking to try and add layers onto it. I'm trying to add layers onto it as much as we possibly can. We are in possession stuff, trying to get a greater control of the ball, trying to see if we can carve out more opportunities in games of football from all scenarios, whether it be wide positions, central areas, dead balls that we've seen at the weekend. So we're going to continue to do that, and I think the key factor that I touched on after the Kilmarnock game was trying to grow in confidence. Players will express themselves more and will execute aspects of the game better when they're full of confidence, and it's been a real positive for me in the last 2 weeks because I've started to see a number of our players grow at this football club, grow in confidence, but again I need to kind of put myself and everybody else in check with that it's a couple of games of football. We have to try and find that consistency that I'm speaking to Jane about there, and if we can do that, I've always believed that we can be a handful for any team in this league. We can be a match for any team in this league.
You feel you've got the building blocks, so we're very disciplined performance this weekend, really solid looking as well, which even obviously last season we got a few goals conceded at this stage of the season and into Christmas as well. So
yeah, I believe we've got a good foundation. I always have done. We got a lot of work done early in the summer. It was always done with a real focus and a plan of where we wanted to go and what we wanted to look like as a football team. I know we've taken our hits within that with the injuries to keep mentioning that. But yeah, what I realised and what I know certainly was I probably tried to build a team from the front to the back when I first came here, which was against the grain for what I do. I had a kind of short period interim manager. We were at the bottom of the table and we had to start scoring some goals and picking up some points. So and looking at the front end of the park and the strikers we had, I sort of tried to build things from there backwards, which, as I say, completely goes against the grain for what I do. But with there being so much transition, so much turnover of players as there's been this summer for us, it was always with a focus to try and build it for the back end of the pitch forward. And I think you can probably see that in some of our performances and where we're getting to the present day.
Do you feel you've set the bar now, Stuart, of the players of what you expect of them week in, week out, as the performances have been getting better each week?
Yeah, I think. Do you know something? I've not seen any lack of effort, any lack of willingness to understand how we're trying to play. I've genuinely not. Since the very first pre-season game we had against FC20, we had a lot of good moments in that game. I know you don't look at the result, but I suppose the result against a team that was trying to qualify for the Champions League wasn't bad in there as well. So right from day one in pre-season, this group have given me absolutely everything that they've got. What we need is that little bit of synergy and that wee bit of connection between the players, myself, the staff. I keep speaking about a game model and how we want to play. We are huge on that, we're massive on that, and I just feel that the modern player has to have that plan, and the quicker that they understand it, the quicker that they buy into it, then I feel that you start to see those performances. And again, if I can probably take it back to last season, we always talk about we went 15 games, which was very well highlighted last season. You go and have a look at what we've done through that 15 games. We stuck to our beliefs, we stuck to our principles, and we stuck to the original plan. And I'm really pleased and positive and probably convinced myself and hopefully many others that that's how you emerge out the other side as well. When people have a plan that we think works, it's on the execution. If we can get that right with the bits of quality that I'm speaking to Gav about there, with the confidence, then as I keep saying, I believe we'll be a handful for absolutely any team in this league.
Liam Gordon's going back to his old club this weekend, but just more generally for guys like him and Tony Watt who have come in, how important are those guys who have come with experience of the league been mixing it in with maybe guys who are coming from down south or further afield who haven't got that experience?
One of the intentions was always to get a good blend. We always talk about looking for good football players. You mentioned Liam and Tony. They're very good footballers. They'll be good players for us. I've no doubt about that whatsoever, and I think they've already shown that they are good players for us. But we're always trying to get a blend and trying to get a balance. Some of the players that come up from down south don't know Scottish football, don't understand Scottish football. They try to get a feel for that. These guys are imperative to that connection and trying to get that cohesion of taking part at a new football club, being a team member at a new football club. But you also mentioned there that we've kind of got three categories, because we've got some of these young guys and our own academy graduates, if you like, in our group. So we need the experienced players within that. And I think probably Sunday showed a real good mixture and a real good blend of those three groups that we kind of have at the football club. And I think the most pleasing fact for me, again, without getting carried away, is what's always most important to me is that we have a good dressing room with a group of humble lads. We know egos. Some people want egos. Some people want, guys that speak and sit up and say things when it's not their place. I believe we've got some real good pros, young and old. Some from north and south of the border. Some from across Europe, etc. We've got some real good pros, but what we have to ensure is that this football club, we don't have any egos, and that dressing room's a really kind of solid place for these guys to spend a lot of time, and that they enjoy each other's company, that they'll go that extra yard for one another on the pitch. And I think that I've seen a lot of signs in that. I think I spoke in front of you here last year about how good a dressing room we had. We did, and I think that we've been able to continue that with the characters and the personalities we've brought into the group, and that really pleases me, because I think that will take you through difficult times as well as it will do good times.
With the recruitment you've done as well, has it been with a goal to maybe when you get to this time next summer you're possibly not having to go through this process, having you maybe get 10 in, 10 out, those type of numbers? Yeah,
without a doubt, you always want a continuity in what you do, because that process of working on the training pitch doesn't quite take as much time, and you're not having to try and get as many sort of new messages across to new players, of course, but sometimes that's out with our hands. We've seen a number of situations whereby we've been fortunate enough to bring in some really decent numbers in terms of player sales. Some guys have left under freedom of contract. There's always an aspect of trying to build a squad, so we want to try and mitigate that as much as we possibly can. If those numbers of transfers within the window, whether it come January or next summer, or is a kind of smaller number, then I think that shows that you've got that good continuity. And what it starts is this big farce of us all sitting till 11 o'clock or whatever it will be tomorrow night. Again, I'll say that I'm not a huge fan of that element. I understand how the window works, that it becomes the biggest rat race ever towards the end of the window, but I personally just believe in trying to get things done as early as you possibly can. Not because I want to get to my bed early, but just simply it just all feels a wee bit rushed and a little bit sort of knee-jerk when it gets so late in the window. But we ourselves will potentially have to be dragged towards the end of the window, depending on how a couple of things work out for us today, and we see where the land lies come tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. But I would always tell you that I want as little in the way of comings and goings, because I am someone that sort of believes in that consistency.
Stuart, looking ahead to Saturday, how important is 3 points before the international break, and how well does it set you up for the next block of games?
I sit here and say the same thing to you every single week. We're always looking for 3 points. We're always after 3 points. We go with the intention of trying to win every single game. We obviously find ourselves in decent form, and we find ourselves with good confidence. So we'll go with the same intention this weekend as what we did last weekend, irrespective of international breaks and all the rest of it. That doesn't really come into our way of thinking. It's another game of football. We believe we've got a chance to try and win it, but Craig Levein will be sitting with St Johnstone team saying the exact same thing in Perth as well. So I think it's whoever executes what they're trying to do best on the day, and then we'll see where that takes us at 5 o'clock on Saturday.